Hey folks, welcome to Places Which Changed the World, Part 3. This is the southwest wing of St Pancras Hospital. It's another unassuming little place. At the back of King's Cross Station just behind there, the canal over there, and Camden over there. We've actually visited this place once before on Murder Mile on episode 40. Just to remind you of the story, there was a disused warehouse just behind here. No one quite knows where it is. We could never find out where it was. In there was a homeless man. He was 40 years old. His name was Glyndwr Michael. He'd come from Wales. He'd been abandoned. His mum was dead. His dad was dead. His brothers and sisters had abandoned him. And basically, he'd made his way to London. He'd been in and out of various asylums. He was in the streets. He was cold. He was hungry. He found a piece of bread on the floor. He was hungry. He ate it. He didn't realise it had been left there. It got rat poison on it. He ate it. It started to boil his insides. And about 2 days later, a policeman actually found him and brought him to here, the southwest wing of St Pancras Hospital. They tried their best to save him. Unfortunately, he'd literally eaten all of his insides, and on the 28th of January 1943, he died in St Pancras Hospital. That should have been the end of his story. But Glyndwr Michael, even though he'd meant nothing to no one, and he wasn't mourned by anyone, he never had a proper burial, his family weren't even aware that he was dead, or that he was even alive. He was actually perfect for the government. They needed a body that they could pretend was an officer, so they could dress him up. What their plan was, in here, in the bowels of the basement, is actually the mortuary. Sir Bentley Purchase, who was the coroner, saw his name, thought it was perfect. Sir Bernard Spilsbury had a look at the body and said, yes, it's perfect. He's got kind of an idea of, in his lungs is kind of some kind of pneumonia that he died of, which would be perfect, because what they wanted to do was to take Glyndwr Michael, this nondescript homeless man, put him in a military uniform, an officer's uniform, dump his body off sea, make it look as if the body had there'd been an accident and he'd been floating in the sea, and in his briefcase would be some papers that kind of alluded to the idea that the invasion that the Germans knew was going to happen from Britain going over to Europe, that it was going to actually happen down in Corsica, or actually further up, as opposed to in Normandy, which was where their original plan was. So that was it. That was the start of Operation Mincemeat, and it all started in this building here. It was literally only because Glyndwr Michael was so hungry, he ate that piece of bread, it boiled his insides, and that changed the course of the history of World War II in this building.